everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another reaction video. Today I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to Season 2, Episode 3 of Mindhunter. So I had mentioned in my last video that I felt that Episode 2 was more of a return to form from the first season, which was good for me. That's the first episode this season was also good and interesting, but I was definitely getting more into it with episode 2. So just a quick thing before I jump into this, if you haven't seen some of my videos for some of my other series, you might not be aware that my air conditioning hasn't been working very well, so it's a little hot, especially under the lights. And as I've mentioned in some of my other videos too, I have kittens in here and they're kind of running around, so just some things you might notice throughout the course of the video. But just wanted to put all that information out there in case you notice things or hear things like kittens running around being crazy. But alright, I am excited to get into this, and as I mentioned, it's very hot under these lights, so I'm gonna jump into it as soon as possible. Episode 3. Here we go.
Are you okay?
I don't want to go back to that house.
Give it time. We'll get the details.
Bill, why do the police want my shoes? Am I a suspect?
It's standard elimination procedure. There's nothing to worry about.
Our phone number's on that for sale sign. We have to take it down.
Nancy, that sign is evidence now. We can't touch
Can you
it.
please take my name and number off? Please.
I feel
I'll
like
make a phone
she's
call.
having a bit of an extreme reaction to this. It's not like she even saw anything.
Don't worry about it, I'll go.
Alone?
Yeah.
I don't know, Holden.
I'm fine, I know what I'm doing.
I'll interview Pierce, you come down tomorrow.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow morning.
I'll call you tonight to let you know how it went.
Oh, hey, I almost forgot. Jim Barney will be at the airport. He's still really interested in what we're doing here, so I said we could grab a cup of coffee.
Tim Barney, why does that name
That's
sound
good.
familiar?
That guy.
You met him at the office. He interviewed for Greg's position.
Oh yeah, the black guy you like.
I'll call him, tell him you're solo today.
Okay, thanks.
See ya.
Now, I don't know how
That was
Wendy's
fine.
gonna feel about
You did?
sitting him
I'll
down
take
there
your
by
shoes.
himself. We're supposed
Swing
to
by
be
the house, see what I
babysitting.
can do about the for sale sign. Holden can handle today. I'll join him tomorrow.
Honey, thank you.
Mom,
Hey, bud.
I'm sorry.
A lot of footprints.
Adults and kids. This is where we found the victim. Down here.
A baby?
A baby.
Toddler. 22 months.
Why?
Did he go missing from his home?
From the park. 50 yards through the woods there. He was tied to 2 pieces of old flooring, very carefully placed.
On a cross.
Oh my god.
Crucified. Any adornments? Candles? Flowers?
None. The face was covered with a rag. We found a pile of them in a cupboard.
I'd like to start by asking about your family history.
Fine.
Antecedent behavior.
Okay.
That means what you...
I know what that means. I ain't half. I'm whole-witted. I speak 7 languages, you know.
No, I didn't know that. Impressive. As I was saying, what you were thinking and doing...
Spanish, German, French, Russian, Libyan,
Oh god.
and Apache.
That's 6.
Well, I speak 7.
Oh my god, he can't even
Spanish.
remember
German,
the list
French.
that he memorized to claim.
Russian, Libyan,
English, dude.
Apache.
English?
Bingo.
Also, what you thought and did after you committed the
Alright,
murders.
so to this guy, it's important that
Let's start with
people
your childhood.
feel
How would
or
you describe it?
Think that he's intelligent.
What's he gonna do? That think about it. I was intimated.
Intimate?
Why you always repeating my words?
You have a very impressive vocabulary, and I
Holden,
don't always
don't let
understand
him
your
see you
colloquialisms.
mocking.
Yeah. I got all the good words.
You certainly do. Thank you, Junior.
The best words.
You want one?
Love one. Listen, you're offering two.
At least
The
someone came
chocolate
prepared for this interview.
and the smooth. All in one treat.
I get off in about an hour. If you can wait to eat, I'll show you the best meal in Atlanta.
Okay.
Oh my god. Let me clean myself up, make myself look my best, you know, just in case.
Hey, looks closed.
Let's go.
So I know this season they're supposed to look at the Atlanta child murders, so this is gonna be the end.
This is Agent 4.
Holden,
This is my cousin.
You look kinda
Yep.
young for FBI.
Arnie, stop it. Don't listen to him.
it happens.
They sitting in the back there. Go on ahead. I'll make you a plate and bring it over to you.
Holden's like,
They.
wait, I thought this was a date. I thought I was getting laid. Nope.
Thank you. That woman is a warrior. Works 3 jobs. Takes care of 6 kids. She has seen too much pain. Her husband was a watchman shot dead during a robbery while on duty.
What can I do, Mrs. Bell?
My son, Yusuf, was at Dunbar Elementary. He was one of 20 students enrolled in gifted classes there. He was a good boy. At age 4, Yusuf could quote you Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech from memory. Very clever, that child. Miss Eula, our neighbor, she asked if he'd run down to Reese's grocery to pick her up some snuff. Yusuf, like Angel, never came back. At the funeral, a whole lot of people showed up, even the mayor. But nobody asked how the body of a 9-year-old boy gets stuffed in a maintenance trap. A hole in the concrete of an abandoned school the way Yusuf's had. There are no answers to questions you can't even conceive. We don't come here on Wednesdays for the food, Agent Ford. We waited, we prayed, but we are done. Our children are dying. And someone must do something about it.
I'd like to help.
Here's everything we've collected so far. Newspaper clippings, photos where the bodies were found, eyewitness reports from neighbors the authorities didn't even bother to interview.
Do the police have these?
Not everything in there has been dittoed. Be precious with it.
I promise.
And don't make promises.
People keep
Parents
breaking
teach our kids ways
promises
to
too.
go about in this world. How to take care of yourself, take care of each other. Our promise is to do our best to help keep them alive. When they found Angel, she had someone else's underwear stuffed down her throat. My son Yusuf, his feet had been carefully washed by whoever strangled him. Willie Mae's child is still missing. Who knows where he is or what's been done to him? Save your promises, Agent Ford.
Yeah. When people break
Thank you.
promises to you repeatedly, you don't want to hear any more of them.
For listening, those women needed.
It's homicides.
They're trying to keep the noise down. High murder rate, even the whisper of a predator? That shit scares dollars away.
That's it. She just a grunt like the rest.
Waste of time.
It was fairly obvious that you lost interest during both interviews. I mean, if Jim Barney wasn't there, it would have been a complete waste of time.
From now on, we have to interview subjects who can, at the very least, tie their own footwear.
There's no point preparing questions if you don't bother to ask them.
Pierce might speak 7 languages, but English was barely one of them. What did we learn? If either of them had one thought about what they were doing before or during the murders, they didn't have the wherewithal to articulate it.
I agree they hardly planned ahead. But Pierce and Hans both exhibit elements of self-aware behavior following the murders.
How does that help us? We want to categorize their behavior before or during.
We also need to look at post-crime behaviors. You know, elaborate, albeit unsuccessful cover-ups, diversion of law enforcement with absurdly...
Grouping.
I'm not sure about the racial component.
Really great. What part of Karen Hickman being white and William Henry Hans being black are you unsure of?
Obviously, I agree with you there. I was looking at it from the essentialist perspective.
From the essentialist perspective.
What's that?
Aristotle proposed that all things have a substance or essence that makes them what they are. Similarly, Plato argued that groups are bound by an essential characteristic.
And what are the essential characteristics that place Hans and Hickman in the same group?
Their uniform. They're both soldiers.
All right. Well, that was episode 3. I really enjoyed that episode. I feel like, you know, last episode was a return to form, as I mentioned. And I feel like this episode was really kind of kickstarting what seems like it's going to be the central focus of the season, if there is a central through line, which is the Atlanta child murders. It was pretty funny. Holden was fairly convinced that he was just being hit on. I do think, to be fair, if I wasn't aware that this season was going to, like, cover the Atlanta child murders, I probably wouldn't have had any suspicions about that at all, and I would have thought the same thing Holden did, that she was just going to hit on him and take him out somewhere as, like, a date. But yeah, so it's not to say that they didn't build it up in a way that it would be surprising. I think that they did a very good job of making you think that's what was happening, but I just kind of, you know, I already knew that that was going to be something, and he had to get into it somehow, and so, but yeah, I thought it was a good introduction. I think it's interesting what they seem to be doing throughout this episode with contrasting the murder of this child in Bill's kind of all white suburban middle-class neighborhood and the murders of these children in poverty-stricken areas, these black children in poverty-stricken areas in Atlanta. The difference between the actual police reaction, kind of the intensive focus on solving this that we see in Bill's neighborhood, and even more than that, the police outreach to such an effect that he's going to a church meeting to try and assure everyone that he's working on it and everything's going to be okay, to try to calm the community. Whereas we see in Atlanta, you know, they described a situation where the police are not at all forthcoming or communicative with the parents. In fact, it seems like, if anything, they're investigating the families. And it's not to say that police shouldn't be investigating families in situations like this. You know, that they absolutely should, and we know that in many circumstances, that's going to lead to the perpetrator, unfortunately. But there are multiple children disappearing under strange circumstances and winding up dead, and so the idea that the investigation of the possible links between them isn't really existing does seem, you know, not ideal, not great. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this is going to develop. I mean, this Holden is now going to try, I assume, and bring the whole team into it. I also am glad that they brought back the Jim character. You know, as Wendy said, if it hadn't been for him and his actually preparing and trying to get information out of these guys, they would have gotten nothing out of those interviews because Holden was so, you know, checked out. And I guess with the second one, it would kind of make sense because he now had the child murders in his head. He was very absorbed in that and not really focusing on the interview so much. But, I mean, when you take the first one into account as well, he seemed to just have this condescending attitude toward them, whereas the more kind of intelligent or appearing to be intelligent killers that he's interviewed, he seems much more fascinated and willing to kind of hear them out and really feel as though there's something to be gleaned there. So I mean, the first guy they interviewed, you know, he had a reason to feel like defensive about his intelligence. Yes, he's clearly not very intelligent, that man, but I mean, it's probably something you experience that condescension quite frequently. It's going to have an impact, and Holden condescending to him wasn't going to get any information out of him at all. So yeah, a very solid, very good episode, leading us down these different tracks. I'm curious to see what's going to be happening with this baby murderer as well. That was fairly disturbing with the cross situation that they showed, but and Bill's kind of getting involved in that and skipping out on his actual work and not keeping track of Holden, which is not ideal, but good episode overall. Very interested to see how everything continues going forward. I think I'm gonna wrap this up now though, so I can get out from under these camera lights. So if you guys have any questions, comments, please do leave them down below. Otherwise, I'll just say thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.